I'm Tom Johnson of Thomas Johnson Antique Restoration in Gorham, Maine. And this is a small drawer from a Victorian chest of drawers. It seems like it's made out of oak or chestnut, stained to look like walnut. And all it's missing is that the piece of the molding is missing here. I'm not sure what kind of wood the molding is. I'm going to sand it a little bit to see if I can determine. And then I'll mill up a piece of wood, cut it to as close to the shape as I can, glue it in, and then I'll carve it and sand it and finish it to match. I'm going to scrape this a little to try to determine what kind of wood this is. It's still hard to determine what kind of wood it is. I'm going to put a little alcohol on it. It really looks like walnut to me. I think I'll use walnut. Maybe I can find a lighter piece. Looks like I'll need a piece about maybe 5/16. I found a piece of scrap wood, walnut, that's the exact thickness I want, and it's got some lighter walnut this end. So now I've got to draw the curve with a compass. This looks like a complete radius here. You see the diameter is 5 inches, so I'll set the compass for 2.5. The next step is let me clean up my edges here, and then I'll cut out my patch. Okay, it seems to fit pretty well, but before I glue it down, I'm going to sand the edges a little bit here. So the next step now is I'm going to use my compass again to strike these lines. There's a little ledge right here. I want to cut these lines and then form that top bead. I'm going to make sure I got this little ledge right along here, exactly where I want it. Now I'm going to work on this little cove right here. So I've got it pretty close. Now I've had a bit of chip out here. I've also got a gap here where my new piece meets the old piece. I'm going to use some Fama wood and putty those up, and anywhere else I think I need it, and then I'll finish sanding it. Okay, so I'm pretty much done sanding with the 100 grit. It's kind of tricky getting this inside cove. So now I'm ready to sand with 150. When I'm sanding with 150, I'll cut these corners a little bit. Okay, I think it's sanded well enough. Now I'm going to tape off this area and seal it with some shellac. Okay, I've got 2 coats of shellac on my new piece of wood. As you can see, it's lighter than the other wood. I can see that this other molding is indeed walnut. I purposefully used a piece of sapwood in the walnut. I wanted it to be lighter. I'm going to sand this with some 500, and then I'm going to stain this with a little dye stain and try to bring it in. Now this looks pretty close to the right color. I'll let the stain dry, give it one coat of aerosol shellac, and then if I need to, I'll tone it a little bit. I think my color looks pretty close here, but I'm going to tone the whole area with a little bit of perfect brown toner. Now I'll just build up some coats of lacquer. Alright, there you go. If you remember, the piece of molding was just missing entirely. I pieced in a new piece of walnut with the grain going in this direction to match the rest of this piece of molding, and carved it out, and there it is. Looks pretty good.